Hello everyone, I'm David Law, Superintendent of Minnetonka Public Schools.
And I'm Dan Olson, Minnetonka School Board Treasurer.
We're glad you're able to join us for our School Board Recognitions program. It's important to take time to acknowledge and celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of our students, staff, and community members. This month we're in our skipper gear to celebrate all of the amazing fall activity that's happened in Minnetonka.
We begin most of our regular board meetings with recognitions to highlight the positive impact that so many different people make in our district.
Today we're recognizing District Service Center honored artists from our elementary schools, Fall Sports State Qualifiers, newly named AP Scholars with Honor from the 2023-24 school year, an International Student Award for the Chinese Bridge Contest, and the leaders and site coordinators for our annual Employee Charitable Giving Campaign.
We will now recognize a group of elementary school artists.
Each year, our art teachers select pieces to display at the Minnetonka Schools District Service Center. This is one way we celebrate the work of our students and our commitment to fine arts education.
The works on display are from students at Minnetonka's 6 elementary schools. These pieces will be on display through December.
Student artists, thank you for sharing your work with us. Your artistic talent and creativity brightens the District Service Center.
We would also like to thank and recognize our elementary art teachers for their work to encourage and inspire our community.
Minnetonka's elementary art teachers will be introducing the honored artists this evening. They include Christy Nugent from Clear Springs, Reed Anderson from Deep Haven, Katie Friends from Excelsior, Jane Meyer from Groveland, Melanie Mazingo from Minnetonka, Jennifer Ben from Scenic Heights, and Matt Carlson from Minnetonka and Scenic Heights.
Our art teachers will now read the names of each student artist as their works are displayed.
Hello to the Minnetonka School Board, school community, and especially to our student artists and their families who are watching this evening. We're so incredibly proud of you, and we're excited to celebrate you tonight, along with the beautiful artwork that you've created. From painting and mixed media collage to drawing and sculpture, you've used a wide variety of techniques and mediums to add beauty to each of our schools. Thank you for all of your effort, joy, persistence, collaboration, and creativity you show every single day. We will celebrate now by showing images of your artwork as we read your names. Your names will be read by your art teachers. Miss Nugent from Clear Springs Elementary will get us started.
Hi, my name is Christy Nugent and I teach art at Clear Springs Elementary. Our honored artists are Josie Conway, Elijah Holman, Zara Lim, Camila Sanchez Zavaleta, Gracie Villanueva, Estelle Eichmann, Ina Jadwin, Ivan Waller, Shannon Wesper, Clara Anderson, Piero Sanchez Zavaleta.
I'm Reed Anderson, art teacher at Deep Haven Elementary. Deep Haven's honored artists this fall include Henry Gardner, Otto Ciolka, Henry Gianforte, Elin Warnicki, Alden Graham, Sonia Kotke, Isaac Lundberg, Oliver Tobin, Emmy Lowe, Evelyn Whitcomb, Svea Eshelman, Victoria Halverson.
Katie Friends is the art teacher at Excelsior Elementary. Our honored artists include Quinn Malberg, Maya Murad, Keith Cunningham, Tiago Lindborg, Label Ortiz Benavides, Griffin Sorota, and Molly Farney.
Hi, I'm Jane Meyer, art teacher at Groveland. Our honored artists include Philip Okimovich, Dawson Foster Short, Loretta Morin, Lorenzo Ocampo, Luna Scalzo, Nova Upgren, Carson Staub, Kaz Wormerskirchen. Lena Wojciechowski.
I'm Matt Carlson, art teacher at Minnetonka and Scenic Heights Elementary Schools.
I'm Melanie Mozingo, art teacher at Minnetonka Elementary.
We're honored to share the work of these amazing artists: Enola Larange, Russell Lyons, Brielle Sherwood, Violet Sievert, Hannah Bowman, Tessa Gardino, Madison Gustafson, Annabelle Hermanson, Harrison Morgan, Summer Owen, Sydney Peterson, Elsie Wassum, Lacey Bollinger.
McKenna Callahan, Cambria Caraveau, Mira Clark, Edie Espelend, Isabel Fink, Daphne Hook, Lucy Kalhoff, Maya Lang, Pierre Larange, Alyssa Lacuma, Lauren Lacuma, Ivor Pizzavento, Marisol Sarsha, Isla Scanlon, Lauren Schultz, Cora Smith, Juliana Stark, and Christopher Ousry.
I'm Jennifer Bend, art teacher at Scenic Heights Elementary. Our honored artists are Alexander Bozic, Freya Feldman, Zia Mose, Christopher Musk, Nora Fung, Lydia Gromberg-Schroes, Kathleen Tambe, Elias Wong, Roman Dangers, Samin Louisiana, Nora Horman, and Bodie Wiggum.
Artists, congratulations one more time on being selected for this art show. You are amazing. Keep creating, being curious, and sharing your hard work through the visual arts. What you do makes a huge difference.
Thank you again to all of our student artists for sharing your talent, hard work, and inspiration with us this fall.
Next, we will recognize state qualifiers from our fall sports teams.
It has been a strong season for the Skippers, with many teams qualifying to compete in state competition and several athletes earning top-level awards at state tournaments. The varsity boys cross-country team took third in the Minnesota State High School League state meet this year.
Individually, Sean Fries finished second overall. The team was also section and conference champions.
The team is led by head coach Jeff Renland and assistant coaches Jacob Peterson, Titus Winders, Pete Miller, and Jerry McNeil.
Before we recognize each athlete by name, let's hear more about the team's season.
Hi everyone, I am the head boys cross-country coach at Minnetonka High School, Jeff Renland, and I want to congratulate this year's team for their great efforts this season. Based off the previous year's results, this was the most successful season in school history so far. They were first at the St. Olaf Invite, first at the Steve Hogue Anoka Invite, first at the Nike Preview in South Dakota. They ranked 11th nationally in the Hoka Postal 2-mile race. They were the Lake Conference champions. They were the Section 2 AAA champions. They were third in the state AAA meet, only a mere 13 points from winning, with 2 all-state individuals, Sean Fries in second and Will Chose in 21st. And they were the first Minnesota team overall in any class at the National Qualifying Regional, featuring all of the best cross-country runners from the 7-state region of Wisconsin, Iowa, Kansas, North and South Dakota, Nebraska, and Minnesota. I am so proud of this year's team's many successes. And as always, it has been a privilege coaching you all.
Hi, I'm Casey Nordstrom. I'm a sophomore and I ran for cross country. I was on the state team and stuff, and we ran our race. I gave it my best and stuff, and our teamwork really showed out there. We came very close and we came in 3rd place. And being on the state team was a really cool experience, and it was a super fun time, and yeah, I think it was a cool cool to be on there. Like first year on there as a sophomore, and that was really cool experience to have, and yeah.
Congratulations to the following state team members and alternates: Simon Aravalo Chavez, William Chose, Charles Cummings, Sean Fries, Turfe Horvick, Benjamin Kraus, Lloyd Laninga, Casey Nordstrom, James Thomas, and Zachary Unger.
The varsity girls cross-country team also had a standout season. The team took 5th place at the Minnesota State High School League state meet.
Individually, 2 athletes placed in the top 10. Avery Morosco Johnson finished 8th overall, and Evelyn Malek finished 9th overall.
The team is led by head coach Rebecca Wesley and assistant coaches Sean Kern, Cassie Klein, Heidi Layton, and Amanda Montplaisir.
Let's hear more about the season.
Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Wesley, the girls' head cross-country coach at Minnetonka. I just wanted to congratulate all of the girls for their hard work and their efforts this season. Starting with the JV, I think there were a lot of standout performances, a lot of personal bests, a lot of season bests, and they helped to set a new bar and a new standard for all of the incoming girls, as well as push everyone on the team. I also wanted to give a special shout out to the 6th and 7th runners at the section meet. They were able to literally push the team to be able to compete at the state meet, which was a fantastic time, a great accomplishment for a lot of these girls. We were able to finish 5th in the class AAA meet. Our 3rd mile, the last mile, was the strongest of all participating teams. We passed 3 teams in the last mile, which is just a testament to everyone's grit, determination, tenacity. There's a lot of strength in these girls, and it's been a privilege to be able to coach it, really. Thank you all for such a great season. Congratulations, girls. It's been a pleasure. You guys are the best.
Congratulations to the following state team members and alternates: Alex Dragseth, Meredith Gillis, Mara Klein, Evelyn Mollick, Avery Morosco Johnson, Olivia Mulestead, Kristenza Nielsen, Margaret Nielsen, and Chloe Steinkraus.
The varsity boys soccer team qualified for the state tournament for the 2nd year in a row and made it to the quarterfinal round. They were also section champions.
The team is led by head coach Mike Rogers and assistant coaches Alex Johnson, Nick Samzal, and Tyler Squara.
Let's hear about their season.
Hey, Varsity Soccer 2024, winners of our 3rd Lake Conference title in 4 years, our 2nd section title in a row. We did great. We played to the quarterfinals in the state tournament, and I'm so proud to be a part of this team. Love you guys. One of the best teams I've had in all of my 17 years. Reach for the peak.
Congratulations to the following team members: Alexander Albright, John Albright, Owen Barbeau, Hudson Benitez, Eric Detchen, Tyler Friday, Daniel Gonzalez Villaseca, Noah Izquierdo, Connor Johnson, Alexander Keekley, Brady Kramer, Liam Krengle,
Soren Lee, Iser Lipnick, Christian Longo Schumer, Colin Mascalo, Marcos Olmedo, Henry Olson, Lucas Quackenbush, Mateo Rebman, Samantha Rogers, team manager, Elijah Ryan, Santiago Samcow, and Elle Voves, team manager.
The varsity girls swim and dive team had an outstanding season. They earned 1st place at both the True Team State Meet and the Minnesota State High School League State Meet this year.
Individually, Lydia Cameron won the 200-yard freestyle and was 2nd in the 500-yard freestyle. Annabelle Wenzel was 2nd in the 100-yard butterfly. The team also earned 2 relay state titles for the 200-yard medley and the 200-yard freestyle relays.
The team is coached by Minnetonka Aquatics Director John Bradley.
Let's hear more about their season.
Hi, everyone. My name is John Bradley, and I am the head coach for the Minnetonka Girls High School Swim and Dive Team. We had a pretty amazing season this year. We had a number of great meets, and we started our season off with a great dual meet schedule. We won all of our dual meets this year, with the exception of one meet against Edina. We would run into Edina any number of times during the season, but during the season, we also won the True Team State Meet. It's the fourth meet in the 4 years I've been coaching here that we've won. And I believe we've won that meet a number of times beforehand. We also won the high school section meet, I believe, for the 10th year in a row. And we also won the MSHSL High School Girls State Championship for the 2A division this season. It was an absolutely fantastic year. We had incredible support from our fans, from our parents, from the school, but most importantly, we had incredible buy-in from our athletes who functioned as a great team all season long. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Vivian Shaw and I'm a part of the class of 2029. The most impactful part of my swimming is the friends I've made and the love I've found for the water. I am so proud of all the hard work we've put in throughout the season to become state champions. We have worked so hard every day and all our work has definitely paid off.
Congratulations to the following athletes: Gracie Bartholomew, Lydia Cameron, Annika Graham, Henley Hatzung, Annie Hippen, Sarah Hurley, Michaela Kangas, Lauren Killalay.
Rebecca Moss, Brooke Olson, Morgan Rather, Kendall Schindler, Vivian Schott, Stella Sushi, Reese Hewlett, Annabelle Wenzel, and Claire Wilkie. The next team we'll recognize is Varsity Girls Tennis. 2 members of the Varsity Girls Tennis team qualified for state in the doubles division. At the tournament, Tessa Trivedi and Ella Roberts won the consolation championship.
The team is led by head coach Jessa Richards and assistant coaches Dan Richards and Greg Van Heest.
Let's hear more about their season.
Hi, it's Jessa Boyk, head coach of the girls tennis team. A huge congratulations to the entire team on another fun and successful season, and to their 2 state qualifiers in the individuals doubles tournament, Ella Roberts and Tessa Trivedi. You both had such success playing at the top of our lineup all season, and it was so much fun getting to watch you come together to compete and win the doubles section tournament and to win consolation bracket at the state tournament as well. Congrats again to the entire team. It was a really great year. I am so excited for next year, and you should all be super proud of yourselves.
Congratulations again to the following athletes: Ella Roberts and Tessa Trivedi. The varsity girls volleyball team qualified for state for the 2nd year in a row, where the team won the consolation bracket at the tournament. The skippers were also section champions.
The team is led by head coach Carl Katzenberger and assistant coaches Rachel Dill, James Steffen, and Bailey Zemprich.
Let's hear more about their season.
Hi, my name is Carl Katzenberger, and I'd like to congratulate the 2024 Minnetonka Skippers volleyball team on another tremendous season. This year advancing to the state tournament via the section tournament with wins over the number 1 seed Prior Lake and the number 2 seed Waconia Wildcats to get out of the section and qualify for state, and then wins against Anoka and St. Michael Albertville at state allowed us to win the consolation championship. Super end of the season, lots of fun, and the parents and kids in our program have been super supportive, and that resulted in another tremendous year. Thanks to everybody involved, and go Skippers.
Congratulations to the following team members: Catherine Anderson, Jordan Courtney, Reese Fanning, team manager, Gracie Foss, Riley Frandrup, Lauren Granger, Emery Hedrick, Thea Highland, Hannah Jackson,
Aubrey Johnson, Zeal Cuckoo, Olivia Luer, Penelope Moore, Rory Schoen, Jamie Smith, team manager, Maisie Smith, team manager, Mary Sparrow Wilker, and Ava Wolf.
Great work, Skippers. We will recognize our remaining fall sport state qualifiers in our January School Board Recognitions program.
Our next recognition group is the new AP Scholars with Honor from the 2023-24 school year.
The AP Scholars with Honor designation is granted by the College Board to students who receive an average score of at least 3.25 on all AP exams taken and who receive scores of 3 or higher on 4 or more of those exams.
The students we'll recognize tonight achieved the AP Scholar with Honor recognition for the first time based on their AP exam scores from the 2023-24 school year.
Earning this award requires an incredible amount of hard work and dedication, and we are proud of each student for this achievement.
We asked our AP Scholars with Honor to share about a class at MHS that has inspired them and has had an impact on their academic journey.
Here's what they shared with us.
Hi, I'm Ben DeVolve. I'm really honored to be receiving this recognition. I would really like to thank all of my amazing teachers over the past 4 years, but I would really like to thank my Advantage Health Sciences teachers, Ms. Nelson, Ms. Thomas, and Mr. Wilson, for allowing me to grow in my interests in the health sciences field. Thank you.
Our student honorees from the class of 24 include Catherine Alquist, Ethan Binder, Joseph Brett Labouchere, Henry Brink, Juliet Carlson, Catherine Chapman, Ellie Collins, Claire Danes, Campbell DeLuca, Maria Deman,
Layla Ellingson, Ryan Farnan, Lucy Fazenden, Elias Grant, Grace Hamdorf, Byron Hustad, Ava Click, Parker Lang, Savannah Langen, Monica Lauer,
Sophia Leckie, James McDougall, Alexa Mayland, Holden Miller, Leonard Miller, Amelia Munoz, Paige Olson, Olivia Penteado, Ainsley Phillips, Sydney Pronzinski,
Carolyn Schwantes, Ken Smith, Leah Stellmacher, William Swenson, Signe Van Wyck, Claudia Walker, Marissa Whitty, and Nicholas Young.
AP Scholars with Honor from the class of 2025 include Natalia Abizova, Matthew Adamick, Abigail Afalter, Mateo Aldecosea, Eleanor Allerding, Lucy Butcher, Reese Carlson, Olivia Carney, Claire Chapman, Evelyn Christopher,
Parker Christensen, Gustav Davidson, Tully DeSmet, Benjamin DeVolve, Isabella Dirks, Alex Dragseth, Logan Yu, Evan Farrell, Catherine Foster, Zoe Garcia,
Lauren Gurnis, Tespanish Goodall, Ayana Griswold, Leah Grund, Archibald Hadley Morris, Lincoln Heitkamp, Elliot Hill, Dylan Hudgens, Quinn Hughes, Chloe Johnson,
Brecken Coland, Bridget Kohler, Zeal Cuckoo, Olivia Luer, Grayson Lewis, Jude Lanier, Jack Malik, Lucille Matthew, Anthony McCauley, Catherine McElroy,
Gwyneth Noller, Silver Oakman, Carly Pankoff, Lucas Papin Fierro, Ruby Rock, Ethan Robinson, Anna Rosen, Natasha Runnels, Mia Rush, Elijah Ryan,
Owen Salmi, Maya Sandy, Chloe Sandum, Sasha Shukalovic, Benjamin Sipple, Maisie Smith, Allison Shoba, Kiara Squires, Grace Stahl, Charlotte Timba, Brittany Houghton Bogard, Jacob Weiss, Elena Winters, and Ava Wolf.
Our student honorees from the class of 2026 include Jacob Adams, Laura Oxon, John Albright, Carmen Alexander, Benjamin Barneskis, Luke Breton, Laird Cassidy, Logan Cole, Cooper Dobbins, Caitlin Fauski,
Nathan Fine, William Finucane Tuccio, Ty Gaffney, Isabella Gillis, Brady Ginsburg, Siona Harris, Joseph Heitz, Garrett Hultgren, Daxton Hurt, Ellen Ingham,
Honora Islam, Benjamin Jabs, Joseph Kim, Carter Krebs, Tobiah Lang, Brock Larson, Juliana Lewandowski, Johannes Linden, Isabel Luthra, Daria Maxwell,
Matthias Murdoch, Alexandra Nelson, Rachel Newton, Naomi Newpatten, Matilda Olson, Colin Ostendorf, Claire Penningroth, Skylar Percy, Lucy Pronzinski, Jaden Radel.
Edith Robello, Sean Rook, Anusha Sauderle, Isaac Schmitz, Dane Semersky, Tej Schrull, Anna Siegel, Aiden Smith, River Stein, Reese Hewlett, Sophia Wallace, Lauren Wensing, Aiden Zibzalka, and Asher Zipkin.
AP Scholars with Honor from the class of 2027 include Rithik Amarnath, Anya Aurora, Owen Kai, Lara Colon Ortiz, Cooper Kelsch, Aiden Duong, Stella Kelleher.
Adam Klob, Van Lee, Allison Lay, Vivian Nguyen, Ananda Nuibani Song, Nolan Sullivan, and Pavel Volkov. Congratulations again to each of our AP Scholars with Honor. Our final academic honor this evening is for 6th grader Luke King Schultz.
This October, Luke traveled to China to compete in the International Chinese Bridge Contest, where he placed 5th in the world for the elementary division.
Since it began in the early 2000s, the Chinese Bridge Contest has been a way for students to demonstrate their mastery of Chinese language. The competition included language competency, knowledge of China, Chinese cultural skills, and comprehensive aptitude.
Let's learn more about the opportunity.
Dear Luke, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. It's been a great pleasure teaching you Chinese and getting to know you. Your dedication to language learning and your interest in culture is truly inspiring. I hope you can continue to learn Chinese and enjoy every moment of it. Congratulations again.
Hi, my name is Luke King Schultz. I'm a 6th grader at MME. In October, I competed in the 4th annual Chinese Bridge Speaking Show for foreign language students as a representative of the United States. After winning 1st place at the Chicago Regional Final, I was awarded an all-expenses-paid trip to China for an international competition. I was selected for the final round and was thrilled to place 5th in the world. I share this award with Dong Laosher, who nominated me, Shen Laosher, and my Scenic Heights Chinese teachers because their dedication has let me get anchors up all around the world.
Congratulations on your outstanding accomplishment, Luke.
We also congratulate Minnetonka teacher Wen-Yun Dong from Scenic Heights Elementary and Jai-Wei Shen from MME for helping Luke finalize his competition speech. Thank you for your support of this achievement. Our last group for recognitions this evening is a set of staff members who gave extra time and effort during the month of October to facilitate the Minnetonka Schools Employee Charitable Giving Campaign.
For the past 24 years, Minnetonka staff have participated in an annual charitable giving campaign, altogether raising more than $1 million throughout the years to support nonprofit organizations that assist those in great need.
This year, our staff pledged together to raise an incredible $71,000.
The donations will go to support one of 3 nonprofit federations: Creating Healthier Communities, Open Your Heart to the Hungry and Homeless, and Greater Twin Cities United Way. Or they will fund programs at designated charities that were selected by our employees.
At each of our buildings in the district, we had campaign site coordinators who arranged activities and outreach efforts for their staff in their buildings to promote engagement for the giving campaign. I'm grateful to each of them. The donations our staff raised are desperately needed by many people who are struggling this year.
Tonight, we'll honor each site coordinator for their amazing contributions in bringing staff together to accomplish this wonderful fundraising effort. The following staff members led the annual employee giving campaign for their buildings.
From Clear Springs Elementary, Courtney Davis.
From Deep Haven Elementary, Mallory Brockcamp and Jessica Thule.
From Excelsior Elementary, Matt Breen.
From Groveland Elementary, Sarah Klitsky.
From Minnetonka Elementary, Becky Ash, Lisa McHugh, and Ivy Burkhard.
From Scenic Heights Elementary, Joe Walker and Nicole Snedden.
From Minnetonka Middle School East, Charlie Dorn.
From Minnetonka Middle School West, Jacob Westman.
From Minnetonka High School, Jennifer Breidenbach, Sarah Martinson, and Emily Rosengren.
From the Minnetonka Community Education Center, Anna Berna, Michelle Burns, Chris Fosnacht, Christina Friedrichs, Dorothea McCabe, Zach Mink, Lauren Rydell, and Kate Van Horn.
From the DSC and Tech Center, Angie Flowers, Amy Hillstrom, Robin Klinker, Taylor Donnell, Sucheta Mahankali, and Sandy Shoba. And finally, I'd like to give a huge thank you to our district-wide campaign chair, Executive Director of Communications, Dr. Jackie Getty.
Coordinators, we are grateful for each of you and for each staff member who contributed to the giving campaign by giving so generously. You've all truly made an impact on our community.
That concludes our recognition program for this evening. Thank you again for celebrating with us.
The school board meeting will begin shortly.
Welcome. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the December 5th, 2024 school board meeting of Minnetonka Schools. Gonna go ahead and call it to order. Let's all rise and say the pledge.
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Dan? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have an agenda. First up tonight, we have a school report from Excelsior Elementary. Superintendent Law?
Madam Chair, members of the board, each month our school leadership comes to the board, sometimes with student friends and staff members, to discuss what's happening at their school. Tonight we have the privilege of hearing from Excelsior Elementary. Principal Jennifer Smazel was supposed to be here presenting, but she had an emergency that called her away. So tonight, Assistant Principal Matt Breen will be here to share the school report. Mr. Breen.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, Superintendent Law, members of the board. Thank you for the time this evening. Again, here on behalf of Principal Jen Smazel, I'm Assistant Principal Matt Breen with fantastic kindergarten teachers here, Kim Olson and Schwang Cuddell, and a great 5th grade student, Milo Makinen. Our goal tonight is to share with you collectively our efforts around cultivating a sense of connectedness and belonging, as well as the implementation of strategies to support excellence in student learning and support, specifically around literacy. Over 800 people walk into our building daily, and whether you are a kindergartner that just joined the district 3 months ago, or a 30-year veteran staff member, we want every person to feel that this is the space that they belong and they are set up to thrive. One way that we are fostering this sense of belonging is having common lessons in morning meetings and all school Google Meets around healthy well-being topics like what and how do we show empathy, what does it mean to be kind, and what does it mean to be part of a community. One such example is for Generai to host monthly meetings where the whole school logs into a Google Meet and we will read a book about one of these topics like empathy or kindness, and the buzz it creates in the building is fantastic. Students talk about it for days in the hallways and want to share with us the ways that they have helped a friend or been kind. For me, the highlight was my first day reading the story was officially when I transformed from another face in the hallway to boy principal. I want to now transition over to Kim and Schwang to talk about our kindergarten common space that is new this school year.
All right, so we at Excelsior Elementary, I'm Kim Olson, kindergarten teacher, English at Excelsior, thanks for having us. We originated the idea to build more connections across all kindergarten as a team. So we discussed the lack of connections that we had seen in the upper grades between the Chinese students and the English students, and we wanted to find a way to build those connections at an early age. So as they grow, they interact more, especially when they get to the middle school and the high school. So in order to do this, we took the area that is outside the 3 English rooms currently, and we created a space for lots of STEM activities and fun things for the kids to do.
We all understand that greeting someone in a larger group can be challenging for young kids, especially when they're unfamiliar with each other. To support this important social skill, we practice greeting in the classroom during morning meeting time to build their confidence. As they enter the common area, students, our para will support them initiating the greeting first, and then following the greeting, they are intentionally paired up to explore this area. To foster deeper connection, teachers started to notice and observe students independently using this skill in other parts of the school, such as hallways and cafeteria. As a result, they are building meaningful connections and getting to know each other on a deeper level.
So our future hope is to use the space throughout the day. Currently, we are using it in the afternoon during our playtime, choice time, which all kindergarten has at the same time. So from about 2 to 2:15 every afternoon, 2 students from every single classroom, a para from one of our English classrooms and a para from one of the immersion classrooms, brings the kids down and they all do the responsive classroom and then they play together and they explore together. Currently, we have 4 sensory bins. In each bin, there are different items for the kids to explore. We also have a whiteboard, as you see on the screen, with letters, and there are markers that the kids can write on where they're practicing math or literacy. We also have tables set up for the hub activities and materials the kids can use to build and explore, and then we also have some science exploration. Currently, we have a very fun wrapping station, so all types of wrapping paper the kids are learning their fine motor skills, cutting, taping, wrapping, all the things. And I'll turn it over to Matt now. Thank you.
Going through other areas where we're promoting this well-being, belonging, and connectedness, we have a focus with the Sabres data in our building. This fall, we had 7.6% of our students identify at risk in either social, emotional, or academic. These students are invited to participate in small groups to build skills in the area of co-regulation, executive functioning, and/or social skills. Parents are also emailed of the group's objectives and the skills taught by our counselor, Angie Johnson, and supplemental activities are also offered to families. Just a list of some other items here as well. Angie really works to meet the needs of so many of the students in our building, and she also pushes into classrooms to teach about social thinking and social connections. She does Tier 1 lunch bunches, where she hosts lunch bunches weekly. These are small groups of students who get to bring their lunch into her room, have an opportunity to build friendships in a small environment. These students are oftentimes new to Excelsior, or they just need help making connections or building social skills. She also works with our 4th and 5th grade classroom, hosting a 10-minute Google Meet each week, where she facilitates a guided relaxation to help give their busy brains a break. Another neat area of support, I'm actually going to pass it over to Milo, who's going to talk about his experience with Angie in their group.
Hello, my name is Milo Makinen, and I'm a 5th grade Chinese immersion student at Excelsior Elementary. Ni hao. I'm here tonight to share my part of my school day experience. Each week, I participate in a study skills group with me and 3 other students. Meet with Miss J, our school counselor, in the main office conference room. We love meeting in this fancy room with big chairs. During our time together, we learn study skills such as time management, prioritizing, organization, and we practice focus and concentration activities. For example, one activity we played was I Spy. We had to think with our eyes and find objects super quick. For example, this skill helped me realize how important it is to use my eyes to help me concentrate. This when a teacher is talking or important information is on the smartboard, it helps me learn better to keep my eyes pointed in that direction, rather than being distracted by other things going on around me, like how I see your handsome Swiss Sue and how I see your beautiful pendant. The support I have received in this group has encouraged me to be a stronger student. It has taught me strategies like goal setting, to get homework done, and stay motivated in school. Thank you for your time tonight and support for these extra programs. And thank you, Ms. Smazel and Mr. Breen. And I think this study skills group will help a lot of other students too. Thank you.
Thank you, Milo. We also continue to help with navigating student interaction through bully prevention efforts. Jolly Pop singer and Excelsior parent Billy Hartung engaged our younger students in lessons around what it means to be a team, accepting differences, listen and love, and how to keep it cool when there is friction and helpful ways to manage conflict. Students also worked together on creating collaborative posters where they all decorated a brick to create large bully prevention posters. When there is conflict, we work together on restorative conversation activities to better understand the harm that it has caused and how to make it right. Pictured here is students working through a playground conflict at our school. We also want to give students a greater and bigger voice in our building. So to help do so, we're offering a space to gain leadership experience and to start this student leadership team. We are holding classroom elections in 3rd through 5th grade classrooms this month to establish this group, and is led by a 4th grade teacher, Mr. Andrew Bauer. And again, it's an opportunity to gain leadership experience, and when the voice is feeling heard, greater community is built. We have 5th graders on morning announcements every Friday. We have a buddy program where 4th grade students work with our 1st grade students, 5th grade students work with our kindergarten students. And we also are proud of the bump in our 2022-23 to 23-24 Share Power results in our developmental relationship survey. Share Power is defined by Search Institute as treating someone with respect by giving them a voice and involving them in decisions that affect them. So wrapping up on the connections part with the monthly themes, the Kindergarten Commons, counselor supports, Unity Day, restorative conversations, and student leadership. I want to transition now into another goal around highlighting the important actions being taken around building support and excellence in student learning and support goal. Mario and Luigi here from the Fall Parade travel this roadmap through our literacy roadmap. Read, Act, and Core are really where it started. Moving in, the district leadership team framed the year for our building leadership teams. This included data meetings around screening intervention and 4-box sort with Ms. Alyssa Rutherford and Dr. Matt Riga. We expanded these for Chinese immersion, which I'll get into shortly. And we utilized our building leadership team, learning team, which I'll also talk about momentarily, and SST for feedback loops. This helped us to build a playbook for our literacy focus groups. So this leadership team structure is how we are carrying out this work, utilizing an additional group of staff members, as I mentioned, in our buildings to support this, but working really through that district leadership team to our building leadership team and student support team and to our professional learning communities, where teachers then take that into action in their classrooms. One new team this year is a learning team. This is led by 5th grade teacher, Mr. Mike Savage, and this team is really about developing the how in our building. So they gather feedback from staff regarding professional development, talk about intervention and extension support that we can offer in our building, and provide resources for PLCs or grade level meetings. And to this point, probably the most significant contribution is this group really started to outline 2-hour literacy meetings that we held with each of our grades, where teachers worked with reading interventionists and developed a plan that was specific to their classroom for focused flexible grouping around literacy. In these data meetings and in these meetings with the reading specialists, there was the collection that started originally with the MAP, FAST, and Chinese oral reading fluency assessments, continued with Ms. Alyssa Rutherford and Dr. Riga, and was connected to the classroom in those meetings. Our Chinese reading specialist also developed additional assessments to be used for our immersion students that helped to inform the groupings in our immersion classrooms, where we had a missing spot in our standardized testing in the fall. This data was used to create these focus groups. What you're seeing on the screen here on the left is an extension group working with one of our advanced learning teachers. On the right, a classroom teacher working with another group of students. During this time, there are students all around the room doing different activities, might be reading a book independently, reciprocal teaching, working through an IXL literacy assignment to get that immediate feedback. So there's activity all throughout the room. Want to provide one student perspective.
So some people work independent, and other people work with Mrs. R, and when you work with Mrs. R, you get to play some games sometimes, like reading games. And then whenever it's a whole class on your sheet, everybody does the whole class. And then when some people meet with Mrs. R, other people do read works, or they do learning, or some people have the login for Learning Ally, and some people do SNP, which is where you just read a book to yourself, or you could do RAS Kids, and some people do IXL. And then you have the Monday part and the Tuesday part.
So these are the laps that we'll be taking as we continually work to refine our literacy instruction throughout our building. And we think it is important to point out that we also like to have some fun. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Any questions?
Thank you, Excelsior Elementary. Any questions, comments? Sally?
So I particularly appreciated one of the early comments that you made about teaching the children how to gain confidence in greeting one another. And it reminded me of a recent conversation with a community member about what are we doing to help students learn to reach out to other people, how to make connections and even advocate for themselves. I wonder if you might kind of elaborate on what you're seeing as a result of students learning that skill.
After a few weeks of working with them in the classroom to talk about eye contact when you introduce yourself and what language you use. We teach in Chinese, but you transfer in English easily, and we practice handshake. And then one day, one of my students went out to have a drink in the drinking fountain right across my room. I saw him reaching his hand out to a neighbor's class student and said, "Hello, my name is, what is your name?" Yeah, so it's just really formal, super cute with a 5 years old.
Thank you. And thank you, Milo, as well.
Kimmery?
Thank you. I was just going to say that was a great presentation that you gave, Milo. So thank you for being here. I know that's not an easy thing to do, so you did a great job.
Yeah, we always appreciate having students here, but I think you might have a future in public speaking. Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you for being here. It's always great to see the work that's going on in our schools. Next, we've reached the portion of our evening where we have community comments. Did we have anybody here that was wishing to speak? Okay. Next up, we have an approval of new course proposals, changes, and deletions. Superintendent Law?
Madam Chair, members of the board, at our work session, study session in November, all of you had the chance to review each of these new course proposals. There's a very small amount. I want to make it clear to the public that as we are adding courses, we're also deleting courses. So this doesn't create an additional expense. It's really a shift in what students enroll in. We are constantly adjusting our courses to meet the future needs of our students and input that we get from our community members and employers and post-secondary groups. So you have in front of you the request for approval. If you would need to have questions for Mr. Urbanski or principal or assistant principal, we could. Otherwise, I recommend the board approve the new course proposals, changes, and deletions.
Can I have a motion to approve the new course proposals, changes, and deletions?
So moved.
Mike, is there a second? Second. Kemery? Any comments, questions, discussion? Just for the public's awareness, we did discuss all of these and see the course proposals at the last study session. So there was some conversation at that point. Also wanted to highlight that every year when we do course enrollments, it's based on the enrollment in the courses. So these are not necessarily added teachers or sections. It'll reflect the actual enrollment of the students at the buildings. So, all right, we have a motion. Let's see. Yep. We have can I have a motion to approve the new course proposals, changes, and deletions? Did I do that already? Oh my gosh, I'm totally lost. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All approved, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thrown off here. Okay, next up we have an approval of MCE fees.
Madam Chair, members of the board, earlier tonight, Mr. Bourgeois, in our Truth and Taxation hearing, gave a very brief presentation of our community education funds, and you may have noticed during those funds that the expenditures were a little bit higher this year than the revenue generated. It's situations like that that take the Executive Director of Community Education and her team to review course proposal or course fees and make adjustments to make sure that the fees that we collect cover the cost of courses, because this is a separate fund than our general fund. Tonight, Executive Director of Community Education, Kimberly Carlson, and her team will be presenting on the fee proposals for your approval.
All right, Madam Chair, board members, thanks. This is my first time in front of you, so it's exciting for me. So I guess I'm going to be brief. No, that's good. Jenny and Molly are here tonight as well, who you probably already know. Jenny's going to be talking about our Explorers program, but first Molly's going to go through ECFE and our preschool program. They'll pause in between to get that approval from you once they share that. This is a family, I don't know if you recognize them. I'm going to hopefully say their name right. It's the Brandans. Thank you. Very active in community education and volunteering, participating in the classes. So that's a group. And shout out to Louise Weir, who not only helped us put together a nice looking presentation for you, but she does our marketing and outreach for community education. So she develops the catalog. And so they've been doing this, choosing a community member family on the front of the catalog, and so the registration for that opened up in November, and we got, I think it was 3,144 to be exact. I just happen to remember that number, but they in the first day. So we've got a very active community ed participation. And then the exciting part too is that Louise is going to work. She connected with the Vantage program. And we've got a student that's going to be working side by side with her to take a look at the kind of a redesign of our community education catalog and what's inside. So we're excited about that. She's very eager and excited to do the work. And so her and Louise are working together on that. And then one of the things, holiday giving, we have the Anna up there. Ashheim is been busy getting together the holiday family giving, and as you can see over the last 6 years we've had over around 800 families, so a huge impact. This year we have about 150, and who knows by the time it comes, but that's next week that they're doing this, so we're excited about that. Now I'm going to pass it over to Molly, and she can tell you a little bit more about what's happening with ECFE and
Madam Chair, Superintendent Law, members of the board. So ECFE is doing amazing right now. We are really looking at ways in which we can be more active in our community without any fees attached to it. So we have a couple new initiatives this year. The first is called Better Together. We're partnering with a local licensed psychologist and offering a Parent Ed Plus kind of 10-week closed group. We're doing a pilot with families who have children who are identified as having a special needs, who are in our ECSE program. Sometimes you just need a little bit more than what we can do in parent education and ECFE, and the woman we're partnering with often comes in and speaks to our groups about mental health and how you can take care of yourself as a parent. And so we're starting this in January. We're working closely with the ECSE department to identify families who might be interested. And so there'll be a parent educator and a licensed psychologist, both retaining their scope of practice, but really being able to give more to families as they decide what more they need. So it's a really safe place for people to talk about what it means to have a different trajectory for your child. For outreach, we are partnering with a local church. They actually have an ICA food shelf in the building, and so we have a parent educator going to the days that the food shelf is open so that we can make different connections. That's really fun. It's fun to see the kids and the parents in that way, and then be able to talk to them about how they can come back to the church on a different day to do free outreach. And we're at the library. We've been trying to be at the library for years, so we're very, very excited about being back at story time, and hopeful that that will help to bring more people to the building. And then we offer free Fridays. We started this last year. What we saw is we opened all the enrollment at once, and so all the same families registered for the whole year. So now we have a rolling enrollment, so it opens every 2 weeks. One is based on science, one is based on literacy, and one is based on just making friends. And so every 3 Fridays, those are going on and being offered free in the building. So our census data this year is looking to be about 2,705, and this is how we get our funding for ECFE. So it's going down a little bit from last year. But because of that, and we do have a fund balance in ECFE, we're going to ask for a 0% increase for our classes. Want to show you a little bit about who's in our ECFE program. So this is a breakdown. We do not ask people to provide proof of their income. We let them self-report, and so they can select where they want to pay. This is how our families are selecting to pay in our program. So I'm going to pause here for a 0% increase.
Thank you. Any questions? Can I have a motion to approve the ECFE 0% increase for the sliding fee scale?
So moved.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Mike? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. On to Minnetonka Preschool. You'll see the kiddo in the middle there's in our rain suits. I walked down the hall the other day and they were outside for outdoor learning. They came in and as I walked down the steps, just mud from head to toe. And they were like, look, I'm all muddy. And one of the girls, she's like, I'm all muddy. It was just awesome. So we have our open house. It'll be Saturday, January 25th from 9:30 to 11:30 at the Community Ed Center. It's a come as you want event. There's no need to register. We encourage all families to come, even if you know you're coming to our program. There'll be 2 presentations, one at 9:45 and one at 10:45 or 11, kind of depends on how long it goes. We offer childcare for families that need it during the presentation. There's face painting, activities for kids. They can play in the gym. It's a great way to see our building. I do offer tours. I'm touring around the clock right now. So if you can't make it to that date, please go to our website and sign up for a tour. Make sure you sign up in the morning so that you can see all the kids while you're there. This year we have 22 sections of preschool. Our enrollment as of right now is at 315 and we're about 85% full. Our 24-25 includes 38 ECSC slots. We have about 30 school readiness slots that are reserved, and it kind of ebbs and flows a lot. We find people as they register that we're like, oh, you qualify for school readiness, so we can move them in. We also actively engage in the community to try to bring people in. Our open enrollment is very similar to the district's open enrollment in terms of percentages. So you can see year over year where we're having families come. Oftentimes when I give a tour, people are intending to come here, and so they want to start in preschool. Other times they're just like, we're not sure, so we're going to start here. And they usually end up coming here then for kindergarten as well. So what makes us unique and what we compare ourselves to is that we have licensed teachers. We are 4-star parent aware. That is a 2-year rating. We're up again for this year. And that's both our preschool program and our Junior Explorers program are 4-star parent aware. We do an average hourly rate. So we charge one fee a month for 10 months on average. So you're always paying the same amount each month. Whereas in our child care program, it's pay as you go. So each month it might be a little bit different. Then we look at what other places are charging at an average hourly rate. And then we try to find some apple to apple, but everybody does it differently. So we do a lot of funny math to figure out the hours here and there and what they're doing, what they call preschool versus childcare, kind of trying to figure out what's the same. So last year, as you know, I came and asked to extend our calendar, and that was a big hit with parents. So now we're matching the school calendar, and we asked for a 12.5% increase in order to kind of get ourselves above water. I'm looking for a 5% increase for next year, just knowing that we're going to have increases in staffing and want to be able to ensure that we can balance the book. A lot of people ask me when they tour, do you get funding for preschool? And I explain that no, this is what tuition you pay is what we operate on, and we're very fiscally responsible and make sure that anything that we're purchasing at the best price and trying to keep ourselves just even. So this is what I'm guessing will keep us even for the next year.
Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion? I would just ask, I know when I was sitting on the ECFE preschool board, that usually there was some discussion around the fees, and so was there general support from the parents in that group?
Yeah, I always start there and say, okay, here's what I'm looking at, and I think they might have their eyes go back in their head because I show them all the details, but I want to make sure they understand what I'm asking for and how the money is spent. So yes, they were in agreement.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the Minnetonka preschool fee increase of 5%?
So moved.
Sally, is there a second?
Second.
Dan? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Jenny.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Law, members of the board. I'm going to speak about our Explorers Child Care Program, which is both for juniors, Explorers for our preschool students, and then also in all of our elementary schools, K through 5. We survey families regularly in the program, often in the fall, in the spring, and then at the end of the summer. And so we're always reviewing those comments, learning about ways we can make our program better. And just a few statistics from those surveys we wanted to share from the fall, where 88% of families rated our overall program as good or excellent. And I was really excited to see that 97% responded that they would rate staff good or excellent. So those relationships are so important in Explorer. So it was great to see that. Just a few comments to feature from the surveys, but some big themes that came out were certainly convenience of that care right after school, but the connections with staff and other students, and I think I always find one of the best indicators is when kids don't want to go home when their parents arrive to pick them up. They're having too much fun. So really nice comments from families. As I've talked about with you in past years, we continue to have a goal to serve all families that would like to attend Explorers, but we have had a wait list that we've been working hard to manage and make smaller. And so just a little bit of an update. Right now we have 289 students on our wait list between our 6 elementary schools. We are continually connecting with families, kind of letting them know where things stand with the wait list and providing them updates. And we have been working hard at hiring, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but we've been able to move 55 students into the program from the wait list since the start of the school year. We've also had a lot of people adding themselves to the wait list since the school year has begun. So a little bit about hiring. I shared last year probably that we had started working with a recruiting company to help us generate more leads for staff in our program. So it's been about a year that we've worked with Radar, and that has been successful in attracting additional candidates to apply for our roles. We have also done a lot of outreach to paras to see if they want to add time to their schedule at the end of the day, and principals have been a great support in reaching out to folks as well, and done a lot of promotion on social media, just trying in every way we can to get the word out that we have opportunities available. So we have hired 24 staff since the start of the school year, which is great, and we continue to have a few new staff starting every week, so it's awesome. We had, I would like to give a big shout out to our program managers. A lot of them have been spending a lot of time in Explorers after school to make sure that we're in ratio with the students we have registered, and so we're getting to a point where we don't need them there. We're getting fully staffed and we're able to bring some new students in, so it's a good sign, and we're going to keep moving forward with that. We also look at our open enrollment percentage. It's usually around 35 to 40. This year, 37% of Explorer students are open enrolled, largest group coming from Hopkins and Eastern Carver County. But we certainly know that a child care component is important for those families who are traveling a little bit further to come to school. So certainly wanting to provide that for families. We also track enrollment. The darker blue is before and after school. Junior Explorers is the teal color, and then the summer is the gray. So we don't know yet the enrollment we'll have for this summer, but we will open registration in mid-February for our summer programming, and we're looking to make some changes to the the format of summer, having families come or students come a consistent either 2 to 5 days a week throughout the summer. We think that'll make for a more consistent quality program in Explorers throughout the summer. So families can look for a lot more information coming in the next few weeks about opening dates and times and information. And then in March, we will open registration for next school year. So we're here tonight to talk about our fees for those programs, and we're recommending a 4.5% increase to our fees. We are also looking to add an additional option for our non-school days in the summer. Our hours are typically 6:30 in the morning till 6 in the evening, and we're going to add an option where families can choose to pick up a little bit earlier at 4:30 and for a discounted amount. So that's the only change to the options of care, just a little bit of an earlier pickup, but recommending a 4.5% increase to support costs of staffing and supply increases that we see each year.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the 4.5% increase to Explorers fees?
So moved.
Kemery, is there a second?
Second.
Mike, any questions or comments? Dan?
I take it just from the presentation that the main driver of the wait list is the hiring and it's not like space or anything like that, right?
No, I would say we would need more space if we brought those students in, but the principals at the schools are very welcoming and accommodating, and they would certainly find us space if we had it. We are a certified child care center, so we're required to maintain a 1 adult to 15 student ratio. And so, yes, that is the reason we need more staff to be able to have more students come in.
All right, well, I'm glad you're finding some, at least.
Yes, I am as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up tonight, we have approval of the 2024 Payable 2025 Property Tax Levy. Superintendent Law?
Madam Chair, members of the board, you'll remember just about an hour ago, we had a public hearing on our truth in taxation. That included our budgets across all of our system and our proposed tax increase to the community. This is the chance for the board to approve that proposed property tax increase. Executive Director of Finance and Operations will present that again tonight briefly for your approval. Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. In past years, I would be, when we did not publicize or broadcast our study sessions, I would probably do a pretty significant presentation during this time. But we've gone through line by line our levy, our proposed levy back in September. And we just had a public hearing on it. So I'm going to cover 4 slides that are related to the biggest items of the property tax increase for this year. So I'm just going to, excuse me, went a little too far. Our current property tax levy is being proposed to be levied at $70,163,615. That is a $4,285,916.75 increase over the prior year amount of $65,877,698. It's a 6.51% increase. There are several major components to the increase that account for basically all of it. $1 million is related to our voter-approved operating referendum, which was approved by the voters in November of 2015. It was renewed actually for the 3rd time in November of 2015, and that was renewed with an inflation increase. So there's a $1 million inflation increase of about $63.62 per pupil on that particular item, and that actually is about 1.5% of the 6.51%. We have our voter-approved technology referendum is 6.569% of net tax capacity. That was actually in last fall. And so the value of property in the district has gone up 8.75%, so there's a direct correlation with that. $808,000. That $808,000 is a little bit under 1% of the increase of the total levy. Then we have a prior year adjustment of about $1.5 million in our general fund for our debt service levy. I'm sorry, not for our debt service levy, for our operating referendum prior year adjustment. That prior year adjustment, last year we had a negative amount of, or it's actually gone down, so that's a reduction in what we're levying this year. So that kind of goes to offset some of the increases. We had a large increase a year ago. But our debt service long-term facilities maintenance fund, we payments on the bonds, we actually issued about $14 million worth of bonds for next summer's projects, and so the payment is being added onto that. That dollar amount is a little over just about 2.2% of the reason for the 6.5% increase. And then last year we did a reduction for debt service excess. We had additional property tax collections that had built up over time in the debt service fund, and we used basically about 1.4 million of that to reduce last year's levy. So since we're not doing that again this year because we use that money, which is a one-time chunk of money, it makes it look like the levy's going up, but it's really just going to the level that it would be had we not done that. But still, that is about another 2.3% of the increase of 6.51%. There's numerous other ins and outs, and those make up about 0.4%. So together, those items are a total of 6.5%. We'd like to request that you would consider this levy and approve it for adoption so we can file with Hennepin County and in Carver County and the Department of Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I have a motion to approve the 2024 payable 2025 property tax levy?
So moved.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Kemery, any comments or questions or discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have acceptance of the fiscal year 24 audit. Superintendent Law?
Madam Chair, members of the board, at a recent work session, all of you had the chance to hear in detail an audit that we conduct annually to we use an outside provider to really evaluate all of our funding streams to make sure that we're compliant with the expectations assigned to those funding streams. You heard a presentation of that. Tonight we'll do a public presentation of the audit, and then the board will be recommended to accept that audit. Kicking this off is Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Mr. Paul Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. The audit that you're about to have presented to you is actually done for you. The auditors report to you. They don't report to myself. They don't report to the superintendent. They report to you and the community. So I'm just going to make a couple of brief comments and thank a few people and then turn it over to Craig, is it Poppenhagen? And Grace Troczynski from CLA. So I'd like to recognize Jess Hewlett, who's our coordinator of accounting and audit, and her staff. They did a great job putting things together again this year, making sure all the decimal points and commas on the numbers are in the right place and that the numbers are in the right place. And I'd also like to thank Ash Mooney, who helped, Eloise Wiebel, who helped with fixed assets. There's other staff involved. I just want to thank them all for doing a great job. With that, I will step aside and turn it over to our representatives from CLA. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, it's very nice to be with you this evening. I'm Craig Poppenhagen, the principal on your audit. Let's see, do we want to pull up documents or just, you have the documents? Okay. Very appropriate. Grace, this is how the audit gets done too, so just so you know. So in the physical copies, I just flipped to page 1. It's numbered 1 at the bottom, so a page or 2 in, but just kind of at a high level, we issued in quote-unquote unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which is to say it's a clean audit report. Basically, the accounting-wise, all the presentation, the measurement, everything that goes with the numbers, presented correctly in accordance with accounting principles in all material respects. In addition to auditing the numbers, we also look at kind of the processes and controls around the numbers, how transactions flow through your system, the different checks and balances, division of authority and responsibilities and things like that. So process-wise, clean report on internal controls. We also, even though the federal component or funding of your operations is very small, like 2%, still it's enough that we have to perform some additional compliance testing specific to the federal grant programs. And it was kind of nice this year because we're turning the page on COVID. So, the COVID funding that had come through, that's run its course, is kind of just, back to normal as far as the audit process and what we're looking at. So this year, we're back to testing the child nutrition program for the federal component and the special education, just the federal component of that. So kind of back to business as usual, and we're moving forward. So pleased to report there is no findings there on those. Similarly to the financial audit, we also look at processes and controls. So in addition to just auditing the specific compliance processes around all of that as well. So final report that we issue is on what we call Minnesota legal compliance, which is some specific statutory testing that we have to do kind of at the behest of the state auditor's office. Again, no findings there. So really overall, very good audit process. Your people are doing a fantastic job, kind of keeping track of and being good stewards of your resources. So another kind of item of note in the 200 pages of fund that we issue in the financial statement booklet, there's a certificate in the front from the Association of School Business Officials, a certificate of achievement for excellent in financial reporting. And that is something that is applied for every year. And this year, the certificate this year was, I believe, 28 consecutive years and going for 29. So kind of another illustration of, not just the auditors looking at numbers, but completely separate organization looking at your financial report, and is it a report that's usable and valuable and understandable by the public. And that's a good, just another note of achievement there. So very good as well. On page 2, just a couple things to point out. I can't talk about an audit without talking about some numbers and percentages, right? So on page 2, top of the page, just looking at fund balances, kind of tracking those in the general fund as a percentage of expenditures. Fund balance has been, as a percentage, has been kind of on a downward slope. The main item would be the unassigned fund balance ended the fiscal 2024 at 10.27% of expenditures. Still in a healthy, at a healthy level. What's kind of recommended is for unassigned fund balance to be, say, in a range of 8% to 16%, or in terms of time-wise, 1 month or 2 months of operations. So you're kind of leaning toward the 1 month. Kind of would prefer not to see that percentage go down more, and maybe we level it off or kind of turn the corner on that. But I know that's something that, for example, like rating agencies look at, and your financial advisors are going to look at, and they're going to talk about that percentage as well. So other things, as a fund balance as a percent of enrollment, kind of leveled out at $1,700 per student for the unassigned. And then on page 3, just an enrollment trend. So 10 years ago, just over 9,800 students positive almost every year except for the first full year of COVID in 2021, a little bit of a dip in enrollment, but otherwise positive over the last 10 years, almost 11,300 at the end of 2024. So with that, each additional student that comes in, kind of when your budget and your funding is 80% controlled by the state, each additional body in the classroom is about an additional $10,000 of state funding. So easy math, but enrollment trends going up is a good thing. It's a lot easier to keep track of your finances when that type of a curve is happening. So I'm going to step aside here for just a moment and let Grace have a moment in the sun and talk about some results as well.
All right. Continuing with financial results on page 4, the statement of net position shows what the district owns and owes at the end of the fiscal year. It divides net position into 3 parts: net investment in capital assets, restricted net position, and unrestricted net position. A point to mention here is that the district's net position is significantly reduced due to its share of the unfunded pension liabilities of para and TRA. A way to see this is if you were to take the net pension liability and add that with the deferred inflows and outflows for pensions, you'd have about a roughly $100 million liability. If that liability were to not be on the district's books, the district would have a positive net position of roughly $65 million. So while net position is a good measure and an indicator to watch, it's also important to know why it's negative, and that it's very common with other school districts in the state of Minnesota as well because of those pension liabilities. Continuing on the next page, the statement of activities tracks the district's yearly revenues and expenses and provides a comprehensive measure of the cost of education, including supplies, depreciation, and accrual-based expenses. It also includes that change in net pension liability and those deferred inflows and outflows. As this page highlights, you can see the governmental activities net position increased $11.7 million in fiscal year 24 and $28.4 in fiscal year 23. So a strong trend of positive financial results the past 2 fiscal years. On the next page, we have this graph that summarizes the average daily membership over the past 10 years. From the prior year, there were 27 more students, and looking all the way back to 2015, the district has seen an increase in enrollment of 14.48%. One thing to highlight here is that even at such a large district, Minnetonka has been successful in growing its student body each year, which is commendable and certainly helps the financial stability and health of the district. And a lot of that is due to the additional capacity created through building expansions and upgrades that have happened over the past 10 years. Moving on, we have a summary of the general fund revenues by source, those sources being state aids, taxes, federal, and other. Each of those source revenues increased from the prior year, which can be attributed to legislative activity. And you can see that while overall revenue has steadily increased each year, the proportion actually coming from taxes and state aids has remained relatively stable over the years. On the next page, we have a summary of expenditures per student and a summary of total general fund expenditures by object code. General fund expenditures per student was $16,754 in fiscal year 24, which was an increase from the prior year. Below that graph, you can see the budget to actual comparison for the general fund. Total expenditures of the general fund were only 0.7% over the budgeted amount for fiscal year 24. Oftentimes, we see at other school districts that is a much larger variance when you compare budgeted versus actual expenditures, so that points to a well-produced and managed budget on the district side. On the next page, we have a summary of the operating results of the general fund. It shows the trends of revenues and expenditures over the past 5 fiscal years. The thing that this summary shows nicely is the budgeted spend down of fund balance over the past 4 fiscal years. And we've already kind of showed some of those summaries of the general fund revenues and expenditures by source and object code. So I'm going to move on to the next page in discussing the food service fund. Again, we have another summary of the operating results. The
The free meals bill was in effect for fiscal year 24, which made all breakfast and lunches free for all students. And historically, Minnetonka has not operated a breakfast program. So as a result of this bill, we saw an increase in revenues and expenditures. The food service fund is operating very well, given how in line expenditures are with revenues. And the district also doesn't have any transfers from other funds to cover any deficits. Many school districts in Minnesota will have a transfer from the general fund to cover deficits, and as Minnetonka doesn't have any deficit spending within this fund, there's no need for a transfer, and again shows how well operated and managed the food service fund is. Below that, we have a graph showing the total number of meals served to students over the past 5 fiscal years. As mentioned with the free meals bill, there were no full price meals in fiscal year 24, and the only sales revenue that you'll see in the food service fund relate to a la carte sales and adult meals. So going forward, there won't be anything presented in that full priced meals category, similar to what we saw during the COVID-19 pandemic when all meals were also free. Moving on, we have another summary of the operating results for the Community Service Fund. The Community Service Fund has consistently seen an increase in participation in its programming, number of classes and programs offered, and just community interest. As a result, we see an increase in revenues each year and an increase in expenditures in line with that increase in participation. A thing we wanted to just highlight here is that specifically in the past 3 fiscal years, the Community Service Fund has seen a strong increase in fund balance, which is again related to that increase in participation and interest from the community. On to the next page, page 12. This has a table of the comparative data available from the Minnesota Department of Education for all expenditures incurred for the benefit of pre-elementary through secondary education. The 2024 data is not available yet. However, looking at 23, the district spent less than the average of all statewide categories in total, which are the all districts, 7-county metro area, and enrollment greater than 4,000 students. Looking a little closer at the graph, you can see that Minnetonka does spend more than the statewide average with regular instruction, however spends less in categories such as administration costs, transportation, and maintenance. This has historically been the trend with Minnetonka in total spending less than the statewide average, and once the 2024 data is available, we'll do more comparisons as well. I'm going to pass it back to Craig to close us off with some formal required communications.
You get to bookend with me. So Appendix C, it's on page 13. Basically, some required communications for boards, finance committees, what have you, who accept the audit results. The couple main things just to point out here. There were no changes in accounting policies for 24 compared to the previous year, 23. So if you were to lay the both 2 years worth of financial statements side by side, it's apples to apples comparison. So no changes in that regard. Couple estimates. So within the self-insurance fund, there's an estimate of kind of the lag on the claims as they come in. So that's an estimated liability. The other one is your other post-employment benefits related to your kind of tied in with your benefits trust. That's an actuarial estimate, so significant to the district, but that likewise has all kinds of assumptions built into it. So it's not, you can't pin that number back to a specific invoice. So otherwise, adjusting entries wise, we had no past adjustments. So I just wanted to point that out. So kind of going back to the stewardship that we were talking about at the beginning is that, basically your finance and accounting group, if they see an adjustment that needs to be made, they make it, rather than saying, well, let's just pass on that and we'll do it next year. So just wanted to point that out. I think I'm just going to stop talking there. Madam Chair, I'm going to pass this back to you. If there's questions, certainly we can entertain questions, but I think motion and acceptance time.
Thank you. Any questions, discussions, comments? Dan? Oh, we need a motion, yeah. Can I have a motion to approve, to accept the fiscal year 24 audit?
So moved.
Dan, is there a second? Chris? Okay, now, are there any questions, concerns, discussion, comments? Dan?
A question and comments, if I may. On 12, Appendix B, when we're looking at comparisons between, or the per pupil spend between Minnetonka and other districts around the state, is it typical to look at enrollment greater than 4,000, or is where we draw that line sort of flexible up to us?
Yeah, so basically the enrollment greater than 4,000 is a kind of a benchmark pulled off of the Department of Education.
Okay.
So each year when all the audits get submitted, they'll publish back some statistics on cost per student. And as far as like enrollment size, they cap at 4,000. So they'll break it down into smaller zones like 0 to 500 students, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2 to 4, and then everything else is 4,000 and above. So that's where that comes from.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great to know. I think my only comments, just to wrap a few things together here, if we look at that Appendix B, I mean, Minnetonka is routinely delivering the education and experience that we deliver at like $1,000 less per pupil than districts around the metro and around the state. And the fact that we've got a clean, unmodified audit also speaks to the fact that Paul and our finance team are really great, really responsible, and really thorough stewards of our taxpayers' dollars, and we're using those investments wisely. We're throwing them in the classroom to the tune of, 88 cents on the dollar for the most part. And just one point going back to the overall budget and our fund balance and our deficit in the general fund for the coming fiscal year. You know, I think Grace alluded to the fact that a lot of school districts will have to move money from their operating fund to cover overages in things like food service or community service, and we're fortunate that we don't have to do that here. Those two fund balances are really, really healthy, but just for the sake of clarity for the public, we can't do that in the reverse. Even if we have really healthy fund balances in something like community service or food service, that's not a pot that we can dip into to resolve any shortfalls in operating.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? I would just echo what stood out to me was that we're putting a higher amount per pupil directly into the classroom than the districts around us, and we have less going into the administration and the maintenance and all that stuff. So I mean, that's what we want to be doing, so it's great to see it reflected in the numbers, and we appreciate all of your work on this. And like we talked about at the study session when we saw the preview of this, a boring audit is good. And so it things like unremarkable and words like clear, that's what we want to see. And so it's really great to have this nice audit again. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We've accepted the audit. Thank you.
Very good. I think just a quick shout out to the taxpayers too, right, for the operating referendums. That's
For
where
sure.
the 88 cents on the dollar comes from. So, thank you, folks.
Thank you. Next up, we have the acceptance of 4 different construction bids. Superintendent Law?
Madam Chair, members of the board, throughout this fall, you've had the privilege of approving bids that were under our estimates, which allows us to accelerate long-term facility maintenance. And what we're doing is we are using some of those overages to go deeper into the list of things that need to be updated. Tonight, you're going to see some windows and some HVAC replacement and some updated special education spaces. Mr. Bourgeois will present them one at a time, and you can pause between each one to approve them. Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law. Madam Chair, members of the board, our first bid, and we're actually getting to the end of getting next summer set up. So we're really close, and we're actually, to Superintendent Law's point, we've actually been able to do several other additional projects that don't reach the bid limit level, where we can do quotes and just do quotes and then issue purchase orders. So we've been working on, again, we've been updating our fleet of buildings to be good for the long term. The first one we have here is the approval of the bid for window replacement, roof replacement, and resurfacing the walls, adding wall tile at the sale building. Our estimated budget for that was $618,000. We received a low bid from Daring Pearson Group of $471,422 back on Tuesday, November 12th, and we request that you approve that.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I have a motion to approve the low bid of Daring Pearson Group in the amount of $471,422 for the window replacement, roof replacement, and wall tile at the sale building?
So moved.
Sally, is there a second?
Second.
Mike, any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, our next one is approval of a bid for a cafeteria heating and ventilation replacement at Clear Springs. This is a project that we've been able to add. We have been working on replacing our HVAC systems around the district, and with things that we've accepted already for next summer, we will have completed providing HVAC in all classrooms around the district. But since we were able to come in under budget, now we're starting also, we have a few cafeterias that don't have HVAC, and they have some original ventilation equipment. So we're attacking those, so to speak, right now at Clear Springs and then Groveland for this summer, because we have some other work going on in those areas that's going to close off those areas. So it makes sense to do those, and over the next summer or two, we'll actually finish the rest of them. But this is a project that was estimated at $580,000. We did get 4 bids. The low bid is CM Construction at $511,878.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I have a motion to approve the low bid of CM Construction in the amount of $511,878 for replacement of the heating and ventilation system in the cafeteria at Clear Springs?
So moved.
Dan, is there a second?
Second.
Chris, any questions or comments? Dan?
I just want to, again, give the district a shout out for being so diligent about making sure we've got HVAC, AC, and everything in all of our classrooms. We've seen how Septembers and Junes can get a lot warmer and more uncomfortable, so it's been great that we've been on top of that and making those classrooms more comfortable for our teachers and kids.
I agree. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the next one is actually cafeteria heating ventilation replacement at Groveland Elementary School. The project was estimated at $500,000. The low bid is lower, but there was some components that we did not need to replace because they had been replaced previously. So we ended up with a lower dollar amount, although we're delivering pretty much the same thing as we are at Clear Springs. But the low bid on this one was $228,880 from Morcon Construction.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the low bid from Morcon Construction for the cafeteria heating ventilation replacement at Groveland?
So moved.
Kemery, is there a second?
Second.
Mike, any comments, questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And then our final one is actually not long-term facility maintenance, but we're using some operating capital funds primarily, although a little bit of long-term facility maintenance for some of the components, to reorient and reconfigure special education rooms 104A, B, and C, and 106B at Minnetonka Middle School. They each have small programs operating with them, but they don't all have doors. And so students are passing in and out. And the area actually is the original 1964 Media Center back office, which was superseded by the 1968 Media Center. And it's been operated this way since. And we've done, $102 million worth of additions, internal modifications, and site improvements to increase the capacity and enhance our buildings over the last 17 years. But this was one that was kind of always lower on the priority list because of the other needs. But we're finally able to get to this. And so we had $250,000 budget for the room reconfiguration in terms of adjusting the walls, and then there's still the original 1964 lights and ceiling tile and some other things and piping and things like that we're going to remove and replace with updated things that you'd expect to see in a modern classroom. And so we're doing that with long-term facility maintenance. So we had $500,000 budgeted, but we got an incredibly good price from Construction Results Corporation as a low bidder. We opened these bids today at 2 p.m. and the low bid is Construction Results at $139,824.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Can I have a motion to approve the low bid of Construction Results Corporation in the amount of $139,824 for the reconfiguration of special education rooms 104 through 106 at Minnetonka Middle School West?
So move.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Sally? Any questions or comments? I would just point out to make sure that everybody knew that was a carry-in item, so you do have the paper in front of you. And I would just comment again that I'm so glad we're getting out ahead of these things early because we keep on consistently seeing the bids come in under what they're budgeted. And like you alluded to, it's allowing us to do more of the projects that we had kind of planned for long-term sooner. And it's kind of snowballing in a little bit of a way in that we're getting out so early and getting them done that we can get the next ones out early and get the low bids. So really appreciate your work on that.
There's a rule of thumb that I've learned from experience. It's like every project that you open after December, the price goes up about 10% per month the closer you get to the summer when you have to do it. So, we're definitely getting much lower prices by just being out in front of the pack.
Thank you for your work on that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Mike, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a consent agenda. Any reports from the board? Board reports. Kemery?
I have a few from MCE, the Advisory Council. They now have a new student rep as part of the Advisory Council, which they're pretty excited about. And they're going to have 2 per year, I believe, and add it to the May application for the high school. So that's one. The second thing is safety improvements. They have new cameras. They have the Raptor system, emergency walkie-talkies, and new parking lights as well for overall safety for the community. For the foundation, the Minnetonka Public Schools Foundation, Dream Makers is coming on February the 7th, and that is a Friday instead of a Saturday. So please make sure you note that. There are tickets available now for an early purchase. Teacher grants application is open right now as of November 1st. And then finally, the Minnetonka Family Collaborative, their resource night was a huge success. They had over 250 people that were coming out from our community. So those are my updates.
Thank you. Any other board reports? Dan?
We had a Finance Committee meeting in mid-November at which we discussed the audit, which we saw tonight, and the levy, which we saw tonight.
Thank you. Sally?
So I was able to attend Adapted Family Night put on by Community Education on November 15th, and that was well attended by families. And part of the reason for that was not only activities for families that were there, but also to collect one-on-one with participants what might be some good opportunities to grow the programming there. And so they will be launching Project Friendship in the coming months. That'll develop programming dedicated to inclusive and adapted opportunities for youth ages 3 through 17. So another real point of pride for our community.
Thank you. Superintendent's report. Superintendent Law?
2 updates. One, I started this fall visiting every Teacher of the Year nominated and celebrated last spring, and we just wrapped up the last one, which was at the high school. Board Member Foss joined me, and that was a teacher who teaches a unified physical education class where general ed students take it as an elective for PE credit and support students with disabilities taking physical education. And that hour was, 1, full of fun and joy, and 2, just a proud moment for every adult in the room to see kids with the potential to take any class they want, choosing to work with students who have struggles physically. Kudos to all those Teachers of the Year, and certainly at the high school. The other is Board members have taken a new approach to visiting with students. This is a teaser for the next board meeting. They have paired up and visited. They've adopted a group of students per se for student listening sessions, sophomores, juniors, seniors, freshmen, and then getting conversations. In the next study session, you get a chance to hear an update on that. Those have been some amazing conversations with our students, not holding anything back about their high school experience and talking about what it's like to be a freshman at Minnetonka High School. So that's been great. Our board members will visit with those students again in the spring, but you'll hear a little bit of an update on what they heard at our next board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any announcements? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Dan, is there a second?
Second.
Kemery, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.